we've been spoiled. We have the Great Lakes right here.
Yeah.
Yes, we have the Great Lakes Compact, but there's a lot of things that are happening with our water, especially with the Great Lakes, that I think we just need to change our relationship with it. So, for instance, we just expect water anytime we want it, wherever we want it, to wash our car. Just bring the water on.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see things in the Southwest and other areas that are experiencing drought where, we're just not going to be able to do that,
Yeah.
even in the Midwest. So 2 examples, I was at the Seattle airport a couple years ago, and Seattle gets a lot of rain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Went into the bathroom, and there's a sign on the wall that says these urinals use roof water, gray roof water, to flush the toilets.
Yeah.
We're not using our fresh drinking water to flush toilets. And I have a friend who's an architect who was involved with the Urban Ecology Center here in Milwaukee, and this had never been done before, but why can't we take the roof water and use that to flush toilets?
Yeah.
And the state plumbing code really wasn't calibrated to be able to handle that. Like, what do you mean? We've
Yeah.
never done this before. And that's what I mean with our water ethic. We really have to start thinking differently about not just how much water we use, but how we use it and where it's coming from, and are there other ways to deal with this? A lot of people use the word sustainable, and it's a very tribal term. Sustainable. The way I see it, nothing that humans do can be truly sustainable. It can only be less non-sustainable and more logically efficient, with lessened impacts.
Yeah. Yeah.
That now you got the right mindset. But when you just start greenwashing everything and saying it's sustainable and we can, it really takes us further away from water, which is why I came up with that one saying, the earth is not green, it's blue. And that's because back in 2006, everyone was talking about green, 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 the green economy. We got to go green. Everything's got to, lead green.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, but what about water?
Yeah.
We really got to start thinking about water, because I don't care how many electric cars you have, you can't drink them.
Yeah.
And
And
if
I'm
you
sure
ever-
they cost a lot of water to make an electric car, to make regular cars.
if 105,000 gallons of water to make a regular car,
That's a lot of gallons.
that's not salt water.
Yeah.
But when you start to look at, and I don't know the actual answer to this, but when you start to look online about how many gallons of water it takes to process 1 gallon or 1 pound of lithium for a lithium battery, you're going to come to the conclusion pretty quick that these electric cars that we're all lunging towards
Yeah.
are going to have an impact.
Yeah.
And that impact, you haven't finished the whole cycle here.
Yeah.
And that's, how are we going to make all this lithium? How are we going to process all of this?
It sounds just right now a little similar, some parallels to before, where we're talking about people just kicking the can down the road. Like, let's, not to say that an electric car maybe isn't a step, but it's like, if we're just going to put something off to another problem, maybe we should think the whole arc through.
Yeah. And again, I don't have the actual number,
Yeah.
But, I've asked this question, you might have heard it in the other interview. How many bottles of water does it take to make 1 bottle of water?
Oh, yeah.
In volume? And, so I did some research on the internet, which means it's got to be true. But there was a guy who worked in the bottling industry who kind of like did his own calculations and figured it was about 88 gallons of bottles of water
to make a bottle.
A bottle of water. When you talk about the printing, the labels, the caps, the wrapping, the packaging, everything that goes into making 1 bottle of water, even if it's 40,
Yeah.
and I'm not against bottled water.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, we got to think about this.
Yeah, stuff to be aware of. And even like you were saying, I think we were talking about it before we went live, about the Seattle thing, and now you just mentioned it again, where they're, trying to find ways to sort of work with nature and in taking their rain. And obviously we don't get the same amount of rain as them. But it's kind of crazy to think that we're going to use our fresh water to, just water the crops, have it in your hose, to have it in the urinals that we're flushing at Pfizer Forum or whatever. That's... Maybe there's some chances that we can put some other stuff in there. Maybe there's some opportunities to, like, let's use gray water. Let's use this here instead of all of our fresh water.
Or restrictors, so we're not using so much of that
Yeah.
water. In Florida, they get over 59 inches, I think, annually of rainfall a year. But they're required by law to use recycled water for their landscape irrigation. In Wisconsin, we get 36, 37 inches a year. and we can use all the fresh water we want to landscape our lawns, our golf courses, our gardens, whatever. So again, it's sort of like a mindset. Like in Florida, they get so much rain,
Yeah.
but yet they have to use recycled water for their irrigation.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to be moving closer and closer to those models.
Yeah.
And they've been proven, and they work, and they're logically efficient.
So we should.
We should start we need to have some really good conversations about that.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching there, guy. Click right over here if you want to see that episode in its entirety. Or you can click over here and subscribe to the channel. See all the other fun shit we do here. It's really up to you, guy.